The bucket meal is a classic staple of American food culture. You get your fried chicken and the millions of sides to sit down and eat this glorious fried chicken meal. And at this point, I think people are kind of getting complacent with what is good. So to make something really special here, I asked you on Instagram for your top picks for all the bucket meal sides to create the perfect fried chicken bucket meal. I'm gonna take each of those top voted items, make brand new recipes, and make the best version of it I possibly can think of in its classic form. I'm not gonna deviate from traditionality here. And since you, the subscribers, voted for it, you, the subscribers, will be tasting it. And really tell us in the most unbiased, most not on my payroll way, which items were better.
And whether or not, and this is important, it is worth actually making.
Is this the best fried chicken meal? Yes or no? Let's begin. So now we're working on buttermilk biscuits. You can do this in a plain bowl with a pastry cutter or 2 forks to break up the butter. I'm doing it in a food processor. So flour goes in, then you're gonna add sugar, baking powder, garlic powder, and fine sea salt. Pop this bad boy on, and then just let it rip till everything's thoroughly combined. Now, once that's done, you've got unsalted cold butter that goes into your flour. Do not over pulse this. You will end up with essentially just a boring pastry dough. So we're gonna pulse this very lightly. All the chunks of butter don't have to be exactly the same. Matter of fact, it's a good thing. If some are a little bigger, some are a little smaller. But generally speaking, you want them on average the size of like a large English pea, P-E-A. You're gonna stir in fresh grated cheddar cheese. It can be sharp, medium sharp, however you want it, but please grate your own fresh. All right, so I'm gonna stir that in using only a fork till thoroughly combined. You're gonna stir in buttermilk. Another option is heavy cream, although heavy cream will make these much more rich. Mix that with a fork till you get a shaggy dough. Mix this together. If this is not enough buttermilk, you can always add a touch more till it comes together. Now, once you've got a rough dough, it's kind of clumpy. There's gonna be bits of flour, that's fine. Dump it onto a work surface. Get it into one mass. Don't touch it too much with your bare hands and melt the butter. First, roll your dough out into a rough rectangle, sort of right about there. If your rolling pin is sticking, you can use a tiny, tiny bit of bench flour. Bench scraper, fold the edges in, and then the other end fold over that middle piece. So now you sort of got like a letter. Bring everything in one more time, turn it. Now you should be into more of a rectangular shape at this stage. All right, we're gonna give this one more fold. Boom, another letter, and look how much more shapely it is. So we're gonna roll out one more time. This needs to be at least 1 inch thick. That is the key to tall biscuits. Get yourself a sheet tray with parchment on top. We have a 3-inch biscuit cutter. You can also go up to 3.5 inches or even wider. Always punch straight down. Got big bits of butter interspersed in layers of dough. Now pop that onto your sheet tray, rinse and repeat with all your biscuit dough. When you run out of space for punching, you just bring everything back together, give it a little quick fold, don't touch it too much, and roll it out one more time. You just punch out more biscuits. You can fit about 12 to a tray, right? We got 4 rows of 3. I didn't go to college. You can put these just straight up in the oven, but I like to brush the tops with a little bit of extra buttermilk. This goes into an oven at 425 Fahrenheit for about 15-ish minutes. Now, this is totally optional, but while that's going, if you want a little on the biscuits, saucepan, salted butter, medium heat, and then just let it melt. Once that's melted, cut off the heat. You're just gonna add 1 clove of very finely chopped garlic, swirl that in. After 15 minutes, you pull out some beautiful golden brown, puffed, tall, flaky layered biscuits. If you went the route of the garlic butter, you'll brush that on immediately when they come out. Be generous, don't be shy. Biscuits, let's see what they think.
We are gonna be comparing this to a popular chain's bucket meal,
Which items were better?
and whether or not it is worth actually making. Today we have taste testing, Leela, David, and Amber. So I'm gonna give you one of each. So this is number 1. Now we're gonna move on to number 2. So go ahead and open your hand up. Lovely.
What is this?
It's still biscuits.
Oh, I thought it was chicken.
Okay, so you can take your blindfolds off. Go ahead and write the number you preferred, the number 1 or number 2.
The texture was immediate. Like as soon as I bit into it, I could tell it was crispier on the outside and you could tell that there were the layers inside. It was cheesy, it was buttery, there was something really salty all throughout the biscuit that like you could immediately tell.
And that adds a lot more flavor interest into part of what makes a meal really good.
For me, it was just the texture immediately. It was so much less salty and the cheddar.
And it didn't turn to like gum when you're eating it, like
exactly. It didn't like stick to the roof of your mouth.
The first biscuit was so dry,
Yeah,
and then it's
so,
also like sticking to the roof of your mouth, whereas this one you don't have that at all.
This is really where the crucial element comes in, which is it worth it? The amount of time committed and spent on this, which is about 25 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. For half an hour, that's like so easy.
You could have fooled me. I thought that took a lot longer, but that was really, really delicious.
Yeah, seriously. It was the best biscuit I've ever had.
75% of it is also baked bake time. So while it's baking, you could be making your mac and cheese, your fried chicken, or whatever you're making with it. I should clarify, just for people who are watching, both biscuits were cooked and made ahead of time, and both of them were reheated to the same temperature.
Could have fooled me.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah. So sorry, KFC. This might not be a but better, but somehow it always ends up being one. Moving on.
Mac and cheese, all in one pot. There's no baking required. You just need to make a roux. That's the only really extra step. So, boiling pot of salted water. Macaroni in. And just let that boil according to package directions, more specifically, till al dente. All right, once that's boiled, drain your pasta. And the beautiful thing is, you can now make your roux in here. Your pot's gonna go back on medium heat. Unsalted butter in. Let that melt completely. Okay, once your butter is fully melted, you're gonna add in all-purpose flour and whisk that. You're basically just gonna cook and stir about 2 minutes, just until the flour's cooked out. Once that's cooked out, you're gonna add heavy cream, followed by whole milk. A lot of recipes use half and half, but I do prefer the milk and the heavy cream, because heavy cream somehow just hits heavy. All right, keep whisking and heating just until thickened and silky smooth. Now, once that's there, cut the heat completely off and add in your cheddar cheese first, fresh grated. Whisk that in and just whisk until it's fully melted. Next, American cheese, grated, and Gruyere, also grated. Now, all you gotta do is just keep mixing until everything's fully melted and fully incorporated. Season that to taste with salt. Always check your cheese sauce. People assume, oh, there's cheese in here, I don't need to add salt. What the f are you talking about? Now you're gonna add your cooked pasta directly in there, fold that together. It might be simple, but let's see what they think.
Everybody loves mac and cheese. I feel like we can all agree on that.
I love mac and cheese is my favorite. Yeah, I'm gonna be really, really real and crucial about this. It's just comfort food. It's just that thing that you really, I mean, there's some that's not that good, but can't really go wrong with it.
So we're gonna come in with number one. Now on to number two. The winner of this one is KFC, unfortunately.
Something about number two tasted grainy after a couple seconds. Number one was creamier, and like that's what I'm looking for in a consistency.
I said number two because I actually think that the first one tasted grainy. What tore me, like why I wasn't sure, because the second one, the noodles were a little mushy.
I think I like the second one because the sauce I think was a little bit thinner. The noodles were a little bit more cooked. The first one I had an issue with because I felt like it was just a little bit lumpy and grainy. I didn't really taste as much of the flavor in that one versus the second one.
Total cook time for this is 15 minutes. Moving on.
For your mashed potatoes, we're using Yukon Gold, because these potatoes are gold, but also because they make really creamy mashed potatoes. So you're gonna peel all your potatoes. You don't have to, but I like to. It's just easier to mash, and I don't want any peel in my final product whatsoever, but it's totally fine to leave them in too. It's not gonna hurt the dish. Then you're gonna cut those into large chunks, place them in a cold pot of water, set that to high heat, season your pot of water with just a bit of salt to taste. You will add more salt later, but we're just getting it started. I like to cook with my salt. And bring that to a rolling boil. While that's going, saucepan, or a small saucier pan, unsalted butter, going in, a lot of it, and 10 cloves of garlic. So we'll let this melt over medium-low heat. I will say, if you don't want to confit the garlic, you can very easily just lightly crush it and let it come up to heat with this, and it'll lightly perfume it and then strain it out. Once the butter's fully melted, allow the garlic to cook, stirring occasionally until the garlic is incredibly soft, about 7 to 10 minutes. Then add in your whole milk. Once that's steamy hot, use an immersion blender to blend until as smooth as possible. Now, once your potatoes are soft and easily pricked with a fork, drain them, push all your potatoes through a potato ricer or mash with a potato masher. You can do that in the same pot or a heat-proof bowl. Then strain in your hot butter mixture through a 5-mesh sieve into the potatoes, stir until thoroughly combined, season to taste with salt, and serve beautifully in a medium to large bowl, and garnish with chives and fresh cracked black pepper. That's mashed potatoes. They're definitely gonna like this one.
So next up is a beloved classic, mashed potatoes.
Okay, this one I'm really excited about. I love mashed potatoes so much.
Me too.
I'm down for it. It's not my favorite potato, but I recognize it's gotta be part of the meal.
I recognize that it's a truth I must cope with. We have number one.
Tastes kind of garlicky. It's pretty smooth texture.
It's good though.
Here we go, number two.
Okay, this was hard because they're both really good in their own ways.
I can just taste the KFC and the KFC mashed potatoes.
I really liked the first one because of the smooth texture. I like the garlickiness in it. I think the second one was good, but I also think the second one was like maybe bacony. But yeah, the first one was really solid.
The first one was delicious. I agree, like garlicky was a flavor that came through to me. It wasn't just potato, like it wasn't just plain mashed potatoes. There was something mixed in with there to give it a little bit of like extra oomph in it. It was really good.
I think the second one tasted dusty. The KFC one, personally.
That's a really good way of
Like, I don't know, something about KFC mashed mashed potatoes just tasted like dust.
I think
But
the second one
loved-
was like lumpy.
It's gonna be hilarious if Josh's are number 2.
Well, mine was number 2. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We're back on the leaderboard. Although it's a W, it doesn't feel like enough of a W, only because I think KFC's mashed potatoes are the worst mashed potatoes on planet Earth. The dusty quality is because it starts as dust. It literally does. It's like instantized potato. KFC, when are you just gonna use real potatoes, bro? This is a slightly longer mashed potato. That said, it can go, I guess, while other things are going, right? You're boiling pasta, you're baking the biscuits. So all in, start to finish, it's about a 25, 30-minute process. Worth it, not worth it?
Worth it.
Worth it.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Things are moving in a positive direction, moving on.
Next up, a very easy grilled corn on the cob. We're doing grilled corn. You could also boil it. Honestly, you don't even need oil, but if you want to put a little oil on it, you can just spray some on, get some extra color. Put it on the hot side of a grill. That's it. I want it ripping hot. So the corn might pop a little bit. That's good. As soon as it's charred and hot on one side, flip it and repeat on all sides. About 2 minutes per side. Okay, at this stage, obviously, you can add your cobs or you can just leave them whole. It's fine. But if you're gonna serve corn, a lot of time people like to do it with butter. I like to do it with brown butter. So, small saucepan. Unsalted butter, medium heat. Very basic, so you're gonna let this melt completely. Then once that melts, just let it keep cooking over medium heat, stirring occasionally until it's a nice, deep brown. Almost burnt, but not quite. The key here, you're gonna take your brown butter, you're gonna brush your corn generously with the brown butter, okay? Coat every little corny crevice. Some of this is gonna fall off, so be aggressive. Take some flaky salt and immediately just coat the whole thing. That fresh butter is gonna help the salt stick. It's gonna look nice. It's gonna give you a little surprise when you take a little bite. Some more of your butter on top and serve. Let's see what they think.
The next one is corn. How do you guys feel about corn?
I recognize that it's part of the meal, but it's not my favorite.
I don't like corn on the cob because it gets stuck in my teeth. It's just so irritating. Cream corn's good sometimes.
I'm the opposite way. Like grilled corn on the cob, like that char is really good. Creamed corn, usually not my thing.
And then dig. There you go. Now you got a lot.
Oh, you'll recognize this corn.
That's a scary statement. Jesus Christ. Oh, you'll recognize this corn.
That didn't sound so good coming out of my mouth.
Go straight up and straight down. Take your blindfolds off, give it a vote. Number 1 or number 2? That was gonna be an easy win. I mean, that's kind of an unfair competition.
The difference is insane. The first one I was like, this is so like not it for me. The second one actually like converted me to someone who enjoys corn because I
too.
traditionally do not enjoy corn at all.
Me too, that's so funny because I don't normally like corn. And the first one I put in my mouth and I was like,
Yeah. I was like, I know I have to keep chewing this and I know I have to swallow it, but I
Yes.
don't want to.
but the second one was like, oh yeah.
The first one just wasn't seasoned at all. Like it was very muted. It didn't have any
plain.
flavor to it. The second one just immediately popped off the spoon.
So the total time to make this is 10 to 15 minutes. Worth it? Not worth it? Worth it.
Worth
10 to
it.
15 minutes is nothing.
Absolutely worth it.
To be clear, it's literally just grilled corn and brown butter and salt. That's it. We didn't add anything else.
Wow.
Dang.
That's the irony. It's like you didn't really even have to do that much, KFC. Whatever you did with the mac and cheese, couldn't you just done that with the corn? Now, moving on.
Hush puppies. You're gonna take shishito peppers and char them over an open flame on a grill with a blowtorch. I don't care, just char them. Now, while those are charring, a lot of hush puppies have onions in them, and mine do too. But I want something a little more classy, so we're going with the humble shallot. And you're gonna very finely chop this, borderline mince this onion. All right, you're gonna use 1 large one or 2 small ones. Now, once these are charred like this, just do the same thing to the other side. We're not gonna totally blacken these. We just wanna soften them up and get a little char on them. Now, once these are pretty finely cut, you're gonna run your knife through it just a few times. I want these onions to disintegrate whenever we cook these hush puppies. My mom does not like onions, but she does like hush puppies, and if I cut them small enough, she will not know they're in there and say, wow, this is so good, and I'll be like, Now for the shishito peppers, you don't even need to peel these if you don't want to. I'm not going to. It's okay to get a little bit of char in there. It's gonna taste incredible. Add a beautiful level of smokiness and depth of flavor. This is exactly what we want. Go ahead and slice these bad boys up. You can leave the seeds in or you can take them out. I don't care. For those who don't know, shishito peppers aren't even really spicy. Although every once in a while you do get one that's weirdly spicy for some reason, even though the rest are not. Again, run your knife through this and get these bad boys super fine, just like the onion. Don't go too fine, because I do want little bits and pieces. Damn! One of the easiest things of all time is making a hush batter. Bowl, all-purpose flour, cornmeal, sugar, salt, Creole or Cajun spice, garlic powder, fresh cracked black pepper, baking powder, and baking soda. Whisk all your dry ingredients together, and then we're gonna add all of our wet ingredients. Milk, a little bit of oil, could be vegetable oil, avocado oil, just room temp liquidity. 1 whole egg, your finely chopped shallot, your finely chopped charred shishito, and just mix all that together into one beautiful batter. If your batter's looking a little thin, don't worry, let it sit for like 5-10 minutes. That cornmeal will soak that up, and then we fry. Once you have fry oil, add 3 350 Fahrenheit. That's vegetable oil, avocado oil, beef fat, lard, I don't care. Halfway up in a 6 to 8 quart Dutch oven. And you're gonna scoop your batter and just Hush puppies don't need to be perfect in shape. They just need to be perfect in flavor. Sounds like a Bob Ross quote. Anyway, now just let these fry. All you need to focus on is the color. Keep that oil temperature regulated and make sure you get them to a nice golden brown. They need to be deeper than this. Keep flipping them every so often. They're gonna puff up. They look so nice. Oh, they're so bloated and cute. Let them rip. This color is where I want it, but I want this bubbling to subside just a little bit, just a tiny bit darker. After 2 to 3 minutes, they should be a beautiful deep golden brown. Take them out of the oil and drain on a paper towel. Ow, they're very hot. Don't touch them like I am. You can give them just a touch of salt to taste immediately while they're still hot, so the salt sticks, and repeat with the rest. You can serve this with a remoulade if you like, or some sort of a flavored mayo or a dipping sauce, but they're great straight up. KFC does not have a hush puppy. Matter of fact, a lot of chicken places don't really serve hush puppies anymore, probably because the way they make them suck. I included this for 2 reasons. Number 1, because I think hush puppies are awesome and I wanted to show an easy way to make an amazing, unforgettable one. But the second and more important reason is I want to mess with the taste testers a little bit. I'm gonna give them 2 hush puppies, but they're both gonna be mine, and I want them to vote and say which one is better. So we'll see if they choose or recognize that they're the same. Let's find out.
These are a fun one. This is a new thing. We have 2 different versions for you, and it is hush puppies.
I love hush puppies. My dad's made hush puppies before. He told me that they literally used to throw them at dogs to get them to hush, and that's why they're called hush puppies.
I think Leela is lying.
I am not.
Okay, so this is number 1.
I don't think I've ever had these before.
Does it make you want to throw it at a dog?
No.
Absolutely not.
This is gonna go down in history in the comment section. Everyone's gonna be like, Leela throws hush puppies at dogs. Number 2.
This one was a difficult one. I'm really not sure.
They're both really good. I don't know.
It was a toss-up. It was hard for me to tell the difference. One tasted, I guess maybe it was a little bit warmer. That's what made it different.
Yeah, I kept having to like feel them. Like I was going back and I even had the bite of the first one again because I was like trying to compare both of them at the same time and like trying to feel the texture differences on the outside, but they were both like really crispy on the outside. And for something I've never tried before, both of them felt really good.
I feel like the second one gave me like a taste of KFC still in my mouth. Like, you know, like the way KFC smells.
Well, we won because they're both exactly the same. They were both my recipe.
Yeah.
KFC does not have a hush puppy. Now, you might be thinking, well, why did you do this? You just want to with people? Yes, but also the second reason is to keep you on your toes. See, now you don't know what to expect. There is no anticipatory answer, but I like that you guys were thoughtful about it. I like where their head's at.
Up, Josh, come on.
So the total time to make the hush puppy is actually really fast. If you have oil already hot and ready, these only take like 10 minutes, at most 15, maybe 20 minutes if you're really slow. Worth it? Yes or no?
I would never make a hush puppy.
I feel like there's other things you could make like hush puppies. Otherwise, I don't know if I'd go out of my way to do that.
Because I've never fried anything before. I am a little scared of frying something. I would much rather have biscuits, I think.
I agree. I also wouldn't make the hush puppies. If you want hush puppies, like make these, but moving on.
French fries. Look, these are very much of a secondary item. If you're already spending all this time on all these other things, I'm gonna give you the best crispy French fry shortcut of all time. These are the frozen fries from the frozen section, yes. And when you fry them in oil, they're ridiculously good. This is what most restaurants do, actually. Sorry to tell you that. If you want, you can make a quick little Cajun seasoning. So, small bowl, salt, MSG, that's right, sugar, white pepper, onion powder, cayenne powder, garlic powder, and finally a little bit of smoked paprika or regular paprika. This together till combined, and that is your spicy Cajun seasoning. Let's have a conversation about when you're frying things in a pot. Number 1, this pot is max full. See how full this is? It's about 3/4 of the way up, maybe even a little under 3/4 of the way up. Never ever fill your frying pot more than that. End of story. Second, if your pot ever begins to look like it's gonna overflow, turn the heat off immediately. I'm serious. Thank you. Now, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's our frozen fries. Let's get ourselves a spider. You can also use tongs and just carefully drop them into your hot oil. And we'll do that in 2 to 3 batches. I mean, also use your eyeballs, right? Like if it looks like it can take a little bit more fry, then put more fry. See, okay, no more. See how it's right on the edge there? That's the pot telling me, hey Josh, that's enough. Once the bubbling has subsided and your fries are stiff, these need to be crispy, okay? So you'll pull them out with your spider, let them drain a bit, shake off the excess oil, and then directly into a large heat-proof bowl. Some frozen fries come pre-seasoned. Be sure to taste one of the fries before you season it. You don't want to oversalt these. We have our Cajun seasoning. We're gonna season these bad boys up. Taste for seasoning. Maybe a little more. Maybe a little salt in there too. Dump them out onto a wire rack and repeat with the rest of your fries. Once those fries are done, just load them up into a big bowl. Serve them however you want. Don't be shy. And that is your French fry. This is going against the #1 winning fast food French fry, the KFC French fry. Good luck, KFC.
So this is an interesting one. It is French fries. I'm actually really excited to see how this one turns out. I almost want KFC to win. I actually really like their French fries. I think they're probably the best I've ever had at any fast food chain in my entire life. Here's number one. One fry to rule them all.
That's a good fry. This is right up your alley, David.
A nice shoestring fry.
Yep, that's good.
Fry number two. Both of these have been reheated, so they're the same temperature each. I'll accept whatever fate that there is in store for me today. Yeah, yeah.
Personally for me, I like the thinner, crispier fries. The first one was more of like a shoestring type French fry vibe, and it also was a little spicy. Had like some spice to it.
The seasoning was really good. I like that I could taste like the pepperiness of it. I like the texture. I like that it was really crispy. I felt like the second one I wasn't a huge fan of because I felt like I could almost taste like the fry oil, and I was like, that's less appealing to me.
Second one was crunchier. I liked the texture more. The flavoring was there with like the seasoning on the first one. If I'm gonna pick a French fry to go with a fried chicken meal, I would rather go for the second one.
The irony is this recipe was written in mind to make these fries as quick and easy as physically possible. These fries only take 10 minutes to make. So the question is, worth it or not?
Yeah, I would definitely try it if it was only 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes, like that's pretty easy peasy.
The only thing that we made was the seasoning. That's it. That was essentially the winning reason, I think. So if you're gonna make anything off the fries, maybe just buy KFC fries and season them with the seasoning. Or you can just make the seasoning and keep it in your pantry. Moving on.
This is the most important part of this video, the fried chicken, the king of the bucket meal. Let's make it. First, your marinade, buttermilk, garlic powder, onion powder, celery powder, cayenne powder, white pepper powder, kosher salt, MSG, smoked paprika. Give it a whisk till thoroughly combined. If you want great fried chicken, make sure your chicken is as fresh as possible. You're gonna add 3 to 4 pieces each of the following depending on their size. That is chicken drumsticks, chicken thighs, chicken wing. Toss together, make sure to get the marinade under the skin, and place in the fridge overnight. Now onto the dredge. All-purpose flour, potato starch, kosher salt, mushroom soup base powder, garlic powder, white pepper powder, celery powder, cayenne powder, smoked paprika, dried thyme. I like to muddle it with my fingers just to get the thyme a little smaller. Give it a whisk till thoroughly combined. Now we dredge. If you want to get the extra little crispies, the flakes, the parts that kind of open up like shards of glass, then I would highly recommend that you take your hand, dip it into your marinade, get a little bit on your fingers, and just flick that into your flour mixture. Well, not mandatory, but you will get more flakiness. It will adhere a little better when you do this. Okay, I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of my dredge onto a sheet tray. Then we're gonna take our marinated chicken, put it in your dredge, cover it with more dredge, and press that flour mixture aggressively. Make sure you get all sides, get under the skin, shake off the excess, no bald spots, onto the board, and repeat the rest of your chicken pieces. Now, once all your chicken is breaded, only a few pieces at a time, I'd say like maybe 3 pieces max, you're gonna deep fry those at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And once the internal temperature registers 165 Fahrenheit, and the exterior is a beautiful golden brown, drain on a wire rack or on a paper towel, lightly season with salt to taste, and then finish with fresh cracked black pepper, and serve. Let's see what they think. The final chicken. You're the only one that made a preference, so I'm gonna give you a leg.
Alrighty.
We also have only thighs after that. Okay, number 2, thigh, a leg, and madam a thigh.
The one that I voted for had much more flavor. It was a lot more crispy.
The one I voted for was just instantly juicier. There was a lot more complex flavor in it.
The one that I voted for, I love the crispiness. I love the texture a lot. I love the instant burst of flavor from like how juicy it was. Whereas the one that I'm not voting for, it was not my favorite thing in the world.
And that is the KFC. No, I'm kidding, it's me again. I told you. Assuming you're making this with the proper recipe from beginning to end, this is probably gonna take you, depending on the sizes of chicken, anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes to make the fried chicken. Not worth it. Would you rather just go to KFC and get the fried chicken yourself?
I personally wouldn't fry the chicken myself. I wouldn't go to KFC, but I would go out and buy it personally.
Yes, I would fry that chicken. That was awesome.
I think I would give this a shot. I think I would try it. I definitely wouldn't go to KFC for fried chicken.
Out of all the things you had today, what was your favorite or your go-to?
The thing that surprised me was the corn. That was really, really,
That's what I was
really
gonna
good.
say.
I had high expectations for like the mac and cheese, the biscuits. Like those are staples of a fried chicken meal for me, but the corn blew me away how good that was and how easy it was apparently.
Surprisingly for me, I've been thinking about those hush puppies. I was definitely converted by the corn, but now I can't stop thinking about hush puppies.
It was the corn for me too, because corn isn't something that I would normally make, but it was easy and it tasted so good, so I would definitely, for sure, make that at home.
Do you feel like this had everything that a bucket meal can have? Was there anything missing?
I think for me, I like to have a little little bit more vegetables, so probably like green beans, or I'm a real big fan of fried okra. Overall, I think especially for what we had, it was a very classic bucket meal.
I would have said the same thing. I thought something green would have like contrasted well with everything else, but I love the biscuit. I love the mac and cheese. I thought it was really, really good, honestly.
The one thing that was missing is fried okra. Because fried okra, for me, is a bucket meal staple.
That's crazy, I hate okra. The one thing I think we learned today is maybe just if you're gonna go and eat a fried chicken bucket meal, either make it yourself or spend the time to find a good place. Special thank you to our tasters and of course everybody who voted to make this video possible. We appreciate you, we love you, and we kiss you.